That's weird. This meeting is being recorded. That's I haven't used Zoom in a while. And welcome to I'm not a fan unless I have a podcast. I'm John Hanford, and it has been a few months since the last episode. But with the recent heat wave, we're having a Joshua Tree, or I mean, it's just the summer in Joshua Tree. It's the reality. It's 106 degrees today, so I'm staying inside with Clancy, just in the air conditioning, and I got stoned for the first time in 2 weeks. I took a tolerance break, and I basically, what have I been doing the last couple of months? It's been I've been doing a lot of what should we say, shadow work, and just like just doing a lot of not soul searching. I feel like I'm past the soul searching part, but like I'm just what soul refining work, I guess. I've been getting into some spiritual shit, and just there were certain things that I felt I needed to address in my life that basically I needed to accept them for what they were. One of the things, obviously, from listening to this podcast or watching whatever you do, I am naturally a pretty self-centered person. That's just who I am. And I do love other people too. Like I really love making new friends and connections and everything. But I basically had to get over the guilt of being self-indulgent. I enjoy, that's something that I enjoy. However, I also know that by indulging too much in it, that can be seriously detrimental to my own spirit. Whether that comes in the form of like a mental health crisis. I mean, which it hasn't yet. Hopefully, it never does. But but between that and just other things, that it just leads to other things that that seem to lessen my spirit. That's just how it feels. And the older I get, the more I pick up on these patterns. And so I've one of those things where I felt like I needed to have a little more discipline in my life is, even though I'm good at podcasting, I feel like I'm a pretty unique person. I can offer an interesting perspective on things. Even though that's true, perhaps it doesn't need to be out there as much as I had previously been putting it out. And I also got to say, like, with this being the 59th or 60th, I think, I forget. Yeah, it was either 58 or 59 that we last left off of. So that's already insane. Like, that's an insane amount of content just talking about King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. And, I was pretty bullish, right from the get-go by doing 2 episodes a week. That was honestly probably overkill. Perhaps that's what led to, like, the, listener drop-off. Although, when KG came out, it picked back up again, and I don't know. Throughout the summer, I got new fans, people finding the podcast at different times. And I really loved meeting like all of these people. I really hope my I need to check my microphone. Has this been recorded? It is. Okay, great. The levels are there. My monitor's just a little low. Perhaps I should turn the gain up a little bit on the microphone. Well, okay, I can certainly hear this better. I'll fix those audio levels. Hang on a second. Okay, so anyway, I got the audio levels figured out. It turns out they didn't even need to be figured out. They're totally fine. Anyway, so my whole point is, after doing all the spiritual work, spiritual growth, and everything, I felt like, I really needed to be. Well, basically, it coincided with a whole bunch of creative energy that came to me musically, and I didn't really feel like comedy was going anywhere. Not that I'm quitting comedy; I'm actually quite active, but I started to feel like maybe I should shift my focus away from comedy so that it comes to me more subconsciously and more lucidly, because really that's what you want. You don't want to, like, it shouldn't be obvious that you're putting on an act when you're on stage. In terms of the type of stand-up comedy that I do, I like to put my authentic self out there because I really have no mask. I've lived that life already where I realize just how insane it is to, you know, I don't know, believe your own bullshit for so long. But I don't know. So I just like putting myself out there. And it just, so nothing funny was really coming to me in terms of material. So I was like, maybe I just need to focus on music. And then what wound up happening is I just started writing these lyrics. Just I turned 31, and then like I just started, just all these lyrics hit me, within a week, and I fucking love these types of creative flows I get into. So the whole point is, sorry, I got the burping from the Safeway Signature Select Soleil Seltzer. I'm sure that's not how you pronounce it. I don't speak French. I don't know, maybe it's Cajun. Anyway, I was saying, what was I saying? I was right. Well, right. So I was talking about the music that I've been creating, and also combine that with being a dog dad for a dog who, she's a puppy and a very active breed. So I really need to structure my time better, and so because of that, I don't feel like a regular podcast is really a good thing for me to do. I do think these periodical things might actually be the way to go, because right now I'm doing this specifically because I want to. Whoa, hit the mic stand. So here's another thing that happened just in that like massive creative flow I got into, and just trying to realize this abundance mindset and shit. I finally made the investment in a home studio, like a legitimate, I got a standing desk, got some monitors, some audio, and like a MIDI keyboard. Like I've got my own creative corner now, and it's like, I feel really good because I'm able to just create. Like I'm inspired by it. I see it, all the time. I've got also like this lighting. It's not the best, but it's also not too bad. Because what I'm doing, I'm actually bouncing lights off of my framed "That's the Rat's Nest" poster, and so I just got King Gizzard lighting up my fucking space, and it's such a freeing feeling, and So I've been trying to make the most of my creative time while I'm able to, like, while Clancy's able to sleep. Luckily, it's too fucking hot today for us to really do any outdoor activity. So yeah, we're just staying inside, and I'm doing this podcast. This is going to be a solo episode, by the way. Honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to wind up releasing it. I am high for the first time in 2 weeks, and I feel really lucid. I feel like I'm making sense to myself. So hopefully that translates. But anyway, I'm doing this specifically because I want to, and it has nothing to do with like just trying to get content out there for content's sake. Like, I know that is never a good thing, and that's also why that's another reason why I had to like wind down the podcast. I felt like I was putting it on a little too much sometimes, and especially like I even admitted it in an intro like a few episodes ago. Like I was at that time, I was in denial. I was burning out. But that's something I am susceptible to, and that was part of like the shadow work that I had to do. It's like I really shouldn't bite off more than I can chew, especially when it's something that can so easily slip into self-indulgence. And there's a big difference between self-love and self-indulgence. And this is a King Gizzard podcast. We don't need to get too philosophical, but I don't know. It also kind of just is my podcast. I don't know what the fuck you guys want. Anyway, I'm just having a blast right now, so that's what counts, whether this is released or not. Um, but yeah, so Butterfly 3000. A lot of you have actually hit me up on Instagram, and and I do have thoughts on it. I love the album. I mean, I seriously listened to it for about 3 weeks straight, um, and by week two, I was already burnt out on Catching Smoke. Um, I mean, it's such a great album, but like I've been listening to it constantly, and like finally I had to take a break, and thank God, Bittersweet Dreams or Bittersweet Demons came out from the Murlocs. What a hell of an album! That one, I like. I'm not the admittedly I'm not the biggest Murlocs guy, but I do like them. Um, but I mean, Manic Candid episode is really what turned me on to them. And because I thought that was their best album, and I honestly think Bittersweet Demons is even better than that. And I don't know. It also could very well be that I just relate to a lot of what Ambrose talks about. And just with all of his little internal struggles and shit. And yeah, because we all got those. And whether or not I'm over amplifying those, I don't know. Uh, but I don't think I am. And it's yeah. So it hits home to me. But also Butterfly 3000, I got to say, it consistently puts me in a good mood. I've looked to it like a few weeks ago. Um, last week I went to New York. Went back there for the first time since 2019, and I had a blast there, and I was there to. Ironically, I left Joshua Tree to go to New York City to do some spiritual work. Um, Fucking hilarious shit. But yeah, I did a combo frog venom ceremony, and and one of the things that I was looking to do was to get past get past whatever mental or physical blocks I might have that keep me from realizing my potential, and so what that entailed was getting basically puking into a bucket for about half hour. And I mean, not like a constant stream of vomit, but I'm no Han-Tyumi. But it was just like on and off, just a typical purge. I don't know. I've never purged before, but it felt good. I mean, it was incredibly uncomfortable during the ceremony, but I also did feel a tremendous sense of relaxation once I, like immediately afterward, and that's been carrying over into my daily life, and I'm trying to make a more concerted effort to, stay true to that path. But I also know because I've also accepted this about my spirit. Once I say I'm hardlining on something, or like I am this, man, that shit backfires so quick, because so quickly I become not that. Not the opposite necessarily, but I realize that is not accurate. Um, and yeah, so that's why I smoked a joint today, because I was like, you know what, I do really, my body really likes weed. My back was starting to hurt, and I was like, all right, enough. I'll still do the breath work, and I'll still meditate half hour a day, but Hanford's got to smoke a J every now and again. I will never talk in third person again. It just was a funny phrase to me. But Butterfly 3000, I have really enjoyed listening to this. I mean, it's such a great journey. Like King Gizzard, like Polygon Wonderland, I felt was like a real journey like that. Obviously, Nonagon Infinity. I mean, shit. Every album, it's a goddamn journey. Infest the Rat's Nest, it's a journey. You know, but this one was Butterfly 3000. It just caught me off guard. Like King Gizzard hasn't done since I took my initial deep dive into their discography. Like, this was such a different sound, and it just made me appreciate them so much more. It honestly renewed my interest in them because, yeah, there were some, like, obviously KG and LW, great records. You know, I've even said phenomenal. Like KG, I had put in my top five. But you know, while it did, push the envelope in one way or another, it also was kind of what we expected a little bit. I mean, Intersport was a real fun trip, but there was, I mean, we because not like it was a predictable album. Obviously, it wasn't. I've said the exact opposite of what I'm saying way more than I've ever made this point. But like there were. My point is that they're using guitars and the synths and everything, and being a typical rock band or psych whatever genre you call gives. I would call them a good rock and roll band. But bringing the whole like synth pop element to their discography, it was like, for my initial reaction was like, okay, well, cool. I like that this is sort of like a spin-off of like, Accolade and Cy Boogie, but that they're not even really. Actually, no, I shouldn't say they're not really like straying from the Gizverse. I think the 3,000 Butterflies is just an extension of it. It's honestly like, I think Butterfly 3000 is sort of a metaphor for just, I think, the concept of infinity. It's just like, obviously Jason Galea can't draw infinity butterflies. You got to put a limit somewhere. So like 3K, good. And so yeah, so I don't really even know how much people even buy into the Gizverse anymore. I remember it was like a real huge thing a few years ago. I mean, because they made it a huge thing, but now we're like just getting these like tangents, and we know how much I love tangents, and yeah, so forgot where I was going with that. Well, right, so Butterfly 3000, the whole journey they take you through, it blew my mind because I haven't had my mind blown by them in a while. It hit me on a lot of levels. So if you recall in episode 27, I don't know why you would recall specific episodes, but like by number. But I had my friend Akshay on the podcast, and he does not like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. He shits on them quite frequently. He's a deadhead who got into the dead because of John Mayer. I mean, I'm not saying he has bad taste. I'm just saying it's hilarious how his path to his good taste is fucking hilarious to me. So I'm sure that probably like 12 years or so down the line, he's probably going to become a massive Giz head. But so I sent to Butterfly 3000 just like, dude, this is unlike anything they've done before. Like, and I don't mean this in like, they're so amazing. I'm just saying like, you might like this. And so he put it on, and so he listened to yours, and then he shut it off because he was just like, dude, it was good, and I didn't want to I didn't want to risk becoming a Giz head. So he's really clinging to that hatred. But I like having those out there people in my life because it makes me pretty out there. I am a fucking sponge. I'm incredibly impressionable. So this actually, this is literally an echo chamber of just me and my thoughts. Like, no wonder podcasting can just make me so fucking toxic. Like, because I'm not talking to anybody. I'm talking to myself, and I have 3 walls to bounce it off of. Or I mean, 4 if you count the tile floor I have here. I really should do some soundproofing in this fucking room. But in any case, it's like, yeah, I think what makes me a fun guy is that I have so many different perspectives. Like I surround myself with a bunch of different perspectives, in the forms of good friends. Because, like, one thing that I know has absolutely crushed me in the past has been, this like moral dilemma, and like thinking of like my own happiness in terms of my morals, and like where do those lie, in contrast with just what we have to accept the reality of the world is. And and I realized that morals, like being a moralist, doesn't really get you anywhere. So I my point is, I think it should, like where I am able to find my own personal, spiritual power is in, having a bunch of different friends, like relationships with a whole bunch of people, and like hardly any of them sexual. And no, pandemic's been rough, but like I love having a whole bunch of different friends with different perspectives, because I feel like that makes me a more well-rounded person, and it constant because I'm constantly getting my spirit invigorated. I'm being given these contrasting viewpoints, to where my values lie. My values lie with, with being empathetic and sympathetic. But the more I realize, I the more pathetic I become by leaning into them. I mean, you know what I mean. But I don't know, Freudian slip. It just, at what point does it end? And it was just a big moral dilemma I had to get over. Just like, how do I actually navigate my life and as a happy person? Because I don't think there's any good really comes from dwelling on problems. Like, I think we just need to be focused like more on solutions, and just find what's like workable. And so and I think that's totally different for everybody. And so for me personally, like I I get along with I'm a fucking, chameleon. I get along with basically everybody. And there are certain people I will not associate with, because I know they're gonna be like soul suckers or fucking vampires, and fuck those people. But at the same time, like, I think also show them kindness where you can, because that's really all that I feel I can do, in my life to, better the world. Um, like authentic, peer-to-peer connections, and not anything that's like put on. And not saying that like this podcast is put on, but we're doing it through a fucking screen. There is some human element removed just de facto, So yeah, that's something else that I've been, thinking about. But this is this is a very personal podcast. Um, but hey, maybe this is what you guys like. This this is literally what I do. Like when I go out to when I go out and do comedy, I'm basically just like taking my podcast with me. Usually just speaking off the top of the dome, and it's people typically enjoy it, whether or not it's funny. It's interesting, and that counts for something. Um, but yeah, so Shanghai. Um, that song, the my buddy, Dan, who we had on the podcast, a while back, Doomer Dad on Instagram. Um, he was talking about how, shout out to Ambrose, like pulling off that Kate Bush thing on Shanghai. And like, I agree, it was tasteful. I like that they did it, but it's not the easiest track to listen to for me. I actually haven't even watched the music video yet. I was on vacation in New York, and my friend didn't have Wi-Fi. I was helping to move into a new place, and yeah, so I just don't. That might be my least favorite track from the album, actually. But it is a cool part of the journey, because then, like, my favorite track, Dreams. Fuck yeah, that's like, Dreams is where it's at. It's like that song consistently just gets me going. Like it's such a fucking groove, and it just makes me feel really good. Uh, and especially just like how it like segues into Blue Morpho. And I remember, like Stu did that interview. I forget with whom, um, but he said like, yeah, the guys had to talk me out of making Dreams and Blue Morpho into one song. There's like, no, Blue Morpho is its own thing. And yeah, thank God for like the five other dudes just sticking up for what's right. Um, Stu's not right all the time, uh, and I'm glad that they work so well together. Um, I feel like that was a great place to put a long pause. Um, so yeah, Blue Morpho. That what a fucking transition. Um, in terms of like the mood, like because Dreams is like extremely lucid, and I mean sure the subject matter is it's a little depressing. It's like I only want to wake up in my dreams. Because yeah, like all this is just consciousness anyway. But it is kind of sad when our waking days are making us yearn for our sleeping days and or sleeping hours. Isn't that weird? No, I guess it's waking hours and sleeping hours. Yeah, no, I'm just stoned. I forgot my idioms or phrases. I don't know what I'm saying. Um, but uh, but in any case, like Blue Morpho, it was such a nice change of pace and mood from Dreams. Is my point. Um, and like that's what makes this album so fucking cool because like they're really sticking to these like synthy tunes and then the acoustic guitar just like coming in these random tracks just I mean seemingly out of the blue just to offer like a little bit of extra flavor and spice and hell yeah um, but god damn it why do I crack myself up? It's really hot. I had to turn the AC off. It was like in that first take, it was, whew, it was. You guys shouldn't have to deal with that whistling. Um, there actually might be a little bit of whistling coming from below. I just realized because I have an air purifier. It's dusty as fuck out here in the desert, so you gotta have it. Gotta breathe clean air. But back to Blue Morpho, and then, well, I mean, just my point being like the journeys the journey that this record takes you through like it's just so many different moods and you kind of feel like you're a butterfly just touring different countries it's and just like experiencing life through the eyes of a butterfly I guess it's I mean there are so many layers to unpack there that I admittedly like I don't it takes me a while before I actually am interested in reading the lyrics or, no actually I've read the lyrics to all the songs I just forget all of them because for me the song I listen to the music for like the instrumental parts and you know which I think is kind of how Giz intends it to be it's like such an immersive experience that the lyrics are almost secondary sometimes and some people bitch about that, like that old man who reviewed the "If Not Now Then When" video, and just being like, "I wish we could hear the fuck you're saying," but at the same time, it's like maybe the point is that your subconscious is actually picking up on what he's saying, and that might actually be a more powerful way of getting a message across. I don't know. I like psychology and just theorizing on shit. I'm a pure armchair psychologist. I'm a hobbyist. I feel like I have enough wisdom to where I know I don't need a degree because school is a waste of money. Um, okay, I'm not actually anti-intellectual. I don't want to have to take out any more loans. But and I'm doing my own thing. I fucking love what I'm doing creatively. So we're gonna see where this takes me. And if I don't know, I feel like I'm on a good trajectory. I'm not gonna like put my hat and like sell myself short at any fucking moment ever again. No, we're not doing that. skywards is the, sky's the limit. I think that's the idiom. Yeah. Um, yeah, so I'm just going to constantly be working to get to wherever the fuck I end up going. But yeah, self-empowerment, self-love, abundance mindset. Okay. Interior people. Another, what a convenient subconscious segue. Talking about like my own internal shit going on, and really wanted to talk about Butterfly 3000 now that I've exhausted it for my own listening pleasure. Um, I hope, I forget when the record's supposed to ship, but I hope it's not for a while. Not only because it's really fucking hot in Joshua Tree and I don't want it to melt, but I think I need to give it a break for a little bit. Just like I needed to give weed a break. A tolerance break. It is possible to get burned out and shit, no matter how much we say we love King Gizzard. Like the more you say you love King Gizzard, and you're completely unwavering, now you're in a cult, and that's the fucking spiritual trap. And perhaps I'm overblowing it, but for me, that feels like it's probably true. So enough with the gatekeeping bullshit. We're all here to have a good time. Very much anti-cult. They make a great fucking product, and we should realize that is what it is. And it is an immersive experience that brings people together. For, in terms of like fucking Amber and Cody, fuck yeah, guys, Giz marriage, that's going to happen in the fall. So I can't wait to see the wedding photos. Hopefully you post them to Facebook or some shit. I'm sure you will. It's going to be a Giz-themed wedding. How cool is that? It's so wild. I love it. I just hope that like everybody is as good humored about it as I am. And I know that's probably not the case, but whatever. I am who I am. Be who you are too. I don't give into groupthink. That shit's toxic. Again, why I like diversifying my friends and having all just an abundance of opinions that are rooted in multiple layers of fact and sometimes not fact, but it's still fun to get their perspectives because I don't know, it's so silly sometimes. And yeah, so whoa, bumping my lights. So interior people, what a relatable song. And it's just got that one's got a great groove to it. It's fucking A. And sure, like Stu, reached out because Joey wrote the lyrics, and Stu reached out, be like, "Hey man, are you okay?" And at least that's what Stu says. I actually don't think I don't know. Maybe Stu is that sensitive to. I don't know. I have no idea. But I don't know. I felt like he might have been saying that jokingly, like, Joey's fucking awesome. Like, then again, maybe who knows? Not to downplay mental health. I'm not doing that. But I'm just saying, like, don't take everything so seriously all the time. It's a much happier existence. Anyway, so interior people, fucking right. And then Catching Smoke. That song, obviously that's like the top 40 hit if there were to be one. It's got such a fucking cool groove, and it is such a hedonistic song that, fuck yeah, like, and like that. If you're gonna write a song about hedonism, it should 100%. You have to go all in. You can't just write like a passive, the hedonist, on a fucking ukulele. Like, no, you gotta like lean into the shit, that you want to hear when you're on Molly, and which I've not tried yet, but someone, hook me up. I'll DM me and I'll send you my address, or PO box or something. I don't know. We'll find the Dropbox. Anyway, no, but they fucking nailed it, and so as and I guess this kind of goes back into what I'm saying about like my own, struggles with self-indulgence and or also accept in terms of acceptance. It's like I just fucking lost that point. It was going to be a fucking brilliant point too. Shit! Don't you hate when that happens? Lose my train of thought. This is why like I need to be around people. The more I am focused on doing a podcast, and that's time I'm spending away from people and in my own echo chamber. Not good. So, I wish I had somebody to remind me of where I was going with that. Remind me of where like they could foresee the future. Like I'm just looking at everybody to guide my life. In a way, actually, huh? Well, I feel like I work hard too, but like I also feel like you should utilize the people around you, like realize people's strengths. Within your friend groups and shit, be and perhaps you already do this. You have the guy who's the navigator when you're going on a road trip or something. You have the guy who's going to be the trip sitter if you feel that you need one. And I mean, yeah, you just have the people who hook you up and stuff. Like that's I don't know. I feel like that's what good friends are. And then you give them entertainment. You provide them with like a just fucking out there, whatever the fuck I am perspective, and they're just like, wow, this guy's a trip, and I am. It's it's really fun, and that's the other thing. I have to let go of like the insecurity I get when I'm just like, God, I was gonna make such a good point, and now I sound like a moron. Who gives a shit? It'll come back eventually, and at one point or another, I thought it, so it's totally plausible that somebody else will think it. It's just back out in the ether. Maybe it'll come back to me. Yeah, if this sounds insane, I promise you, I'm doing great. But no, I honestly feel really good. This is just lucid as shit, and I'm high. I don't know. It's weird because I used to work a corporate career, and I was taken as this like serious person, in like the most conventional sense, and then that like led me down such a fucking dark path, mentally, spiritually, that I had to get out. Like, and I realized like, okay, I simply cannot work in that type of environment. I have to really, I have to carve my own path. And I'm not saying it's going great. It's also not going that poorly. I feel like thus far, it's been going really well. Obviously there were a lot of struggles along the way, but now just in the last couple of months, ironically, since I stopped podcasting, or maybe not ironically, maybe because, who knows? But it's I feel like I'm really starting to shed more skin and basically become the butterfly that I want to be. What a fucking trip this album is, man. Oh shit. Yeah, I should never stay on topic ever again. Maybe that's my whole point of existence. It's like, don't make points. They shouldn't be coming from me. I should be just like going on some kind of lucid, ridiculous channeling thing, just talking about who gives a fuck. Oh my god. Is this an episode I want to release? I honestly cannot tell at this juncture. I feel like I'd be crazy not to release it, especially as like an episode addressing why I'm not making this a regular thing anymore. Perhaps you might get it. I don't even know. But anyway, you know, some like I think it was after the first 48 hours or so the album was out. Somebody put a poll up in the Facebook fan page, you know, asking for people's top three tracks, and there was a lot of hate on Killer Year 2.02, or what is it? I think that's what it's called, or 20.2. I'm not good with the decimals, um, but but it got such a low rating, and I felt like that was such a good song. I love that. I mean, just that haunting intro, you know, especially coming out of Catching Smoke, where it's like, of course, what do you contrast hedonism with? A fucking killer year, you know? It's like Florida. Florida's fun. Um, Although God, like I went to the fucking mall in Orlando back in 2017. I had to get a dress shirt for the winter meetings when I was still working in the baseball industry, and the wow, I had never. It was at that moment I realized I got to get a vasectomy. There are too many fucking people um, that are just walking around aimlessly, and so thank God for King Gizzard fucking rescuing me from that like shitty worldview. Because like because luckily my insurance, like I don't think anybody's insurance actually covers vasectomies, so I didn't really feel like I don't really feel like paying that money. I'll just be responsible and shit, or you know, have a kid when I want, or whatever the fuck it happens if it ever does. You know, that's the thing. It's like not one person's going to change the world. We might. This whole thing might be fucked if overpopulation is as much of a problem as it seems to be. Um, we it might just be one of those instances where the trash takes itself out, and like you know, we all burn up karmically. Um, I don't know. I actually one of the songs I wrote is was about driving down the coast last fall during the forest fires, and that song I'm actually really stoked about. It's got a pretty sick riff. Um, it's I I honestly wouldn't compare it to anything Giz related. It's nothing like anything Giz has done. Um, like I guess if like maybe if like the if Float Along Fill Your Lungs had taken a really dark turn at some point, um, perhaps that. But like honestly, it has more of a Black Angels vibe. And yeah, so I'm pretty stoked about that. And I don't know, basically, just like I can't find it in my spirit to care anymore about outcomes. I can only care about what I can do in my day to day that brings me joy. And as long as I'm experiencing joy, I'm able to give joy to tons of other people. I mean, this podcast is like roughly 60 episodes, and I've I can say legitimately I'm friends with like at least a dozen, and I'm only saying a dozen because I don't want to put a specific number on it. A dozen is like a nice euphemism for like more than several, and but also not hundreds because that'd be literally impossible. I've not had hundreds of people on this podcast in only 60 episodes, um, and you know, so I know that. So for me, from my perspective, this mindset has really worked for me. Um, and how I see the world. Because like as long as I am an optimist, I will attract optimistic people, and the more we will be able to find solutions, commonalities, and also with the inherent fact that I am a chameleon person and I blend and I can get along with other people. I also am not going to bullshit anybody. So like I can also offer, I can share my worldview, my perspective with people who in terms of values and my own and where my own moral compass lies. I'm not a moral. I'm not by saying I'm not a moralist. I'm not saying I'm anti-moral. It's like obviously I'm not going to start murdering and pillaging and raping and being a fucking Viking. I'm only 112 pounds. So I no like I'm not going to say I'm holier than thou because of what I believe and I live by those beliefs. It's shit's constantly changing. Shit's always evolving. It's everything's. It's such. You need to approach everything with nuance. And so, but I know that like with the, for example, the 7 a.m. crew at the dog park. It's a lot of Blue Lives Matter, a lot of Trump, a lot of, and they're still talking about like, the bureaucracy, which, yeah, there is bureaucracy. It's a fucking government of an overpopulated country, like a grotesquely overpopulated country that really, whose values truly are just greed and gluttony, and it comes in so many different forms. It's just the dial keeps shifting to like the different form, people virtue signaling with memes that are actually like trying to make legitimate points, but they typically get a bunch of facts wrong, or I don't know. But the whole point is it's a whole dumbing down of intellectualism, and it's just mean-glish, right? It's so that's a bad trajectory. So obviously we got to. So anyway, my point is I'm able to, even though I disagree with these people on like almost everything, I still see them as people, and that's just a way better way to live, because I'm able to show them my perspective and kindness, and not just judge them or cancel them or do whatever, because that's just such a spiritual trap and a major shortcut. Like, censorship has never fucking worked in history. It has always led to a massively detrimental effect on psyche, and just on society. It's not natural. So anyway, again, I'm not at all a right winger, just an independent thinker with a humanist perspective. And so that was Killer Year, followed by Black Hot Soup. Right? Was it Black Hot Soup, or was it You Love? Yeah, that's right. Black Hot Soup was the next one. I take back what I said about Shanghai. Black Hot Soup is my least favorite track on this album. I have not been able to get into it at all. It's got nothing for me. This could very well be like another one of those moments where it's like sketches, or like Fishing for Fishies, like where like eventually it'll come around on this song, but I cannot get into Black Hot Soup. Again, I forget what the lyrics were. Perhaps they were good, but it's just like Black Hot Soup in the distance, and it doesn't resonate with me. You Love, though, fucking A, cookie dog. I fucking love You Love. Love You Love. I mean, it's just that pure unbridled joy of going back to like the point of like, why not have a kid? Stu is a fucking awesome dad now, and to hear the song coming from a guy who's like an expecting father and really excited to be a father, because he's truly what a good father is, somebody who's excited to be one. And I'm not projecting anything from my dad. Like, he's been great. I just realized, like, I felt like I was a little angry there, and I don't know why. But anyway, yeah, I love how it was just that pure unbridled joy of somebody who's because, like, I don't know, maybe I get it a little bit now that I adopted Clancy, and she's really enriched my life, and I mean, I take so much responsibility for her, and I mean, she really awakened, something in my spirit that helped me, purge, some people from my life who were detrimental, and then like propelled me, catapulted me to this new place of like I I'm getting invited to go to like private shows and stuff, and just from people that I meet at the record shop, and we're popular at the record shop because Clancy's adorable and I have an interesting perspective. But if I just walk into a record shop with like, hey, I'm John Hanford and I have a podcast about King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Check out this self-indulgent shit. They would look at me like I'm nuts. But yeah, Clancy adds like a nice I don't know, straight man to to my ridiculousness. Um, but yeah, so I point is, I truly believe that becoming a parent is just a transcendental experience. I mean, I shit on some people who like don't take psychedelics, but then they go. But then there's like, well, I guess I'm gonna have a kid, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, an acid trip is only 12 hours. Like, you're gonna. Hopefully, you're a dad for more than 12 hours. Like it's like that's such a commitment. And but I also realize like we are all wired so differently, and and so like fatherhood for some people is like truly just a massive blessing. Like it fucking was for my dad. Now that I'm his age when he like married my mom, yeah, like I kind of get. Ow, fuck! I pulled my jaw. What the fuck? That really hurt. I don't know if you guys heard a pop or something, but oh, what the fuck happened? Huh? Another reason not to have a podcast. Sometimes your jaw will just fucking dislocate. Um, huh? That's weird. That was truly bizarre. I'm gonna take these headphones off. It is absolutely wild. What the fuck happened? Oh, God. This was what a fucking powerful thing I was going down. But no, I kind of get it. Like when you turn 31 and like it's like, all right, I got 3 gray hairs now. Like I'm ready to fucking get my life going, and share my experience with the world, and whether that comes in the form of a podcast or being on stage making music, or through my drawings, or if it comes from being a father. Like it's all great, and I think that's kind of what Your Love celebrates. Um, and and I'm so glad that Cookie was involved in writing that song, because I I sincerely believe that he is the most loving guy out of all of King Gizzard. I mean, sure we know Cavs is adorable as shit and like super wholesome, but like you got to hand it to Cookie. I will hold steadfast to this point. I think Cookie gets it better than anybody. Um, and anyway, uh, leading into Butterfly 3000. Um, that transition, by the way, from Your Love into Butterfly 3000, like kind of that transition into like a logical transition, I think, from the excitement of becoming a father, and just like expressing love just everywhere because like so fucking happy, excited, it's just joy. Um, it's like what a great way that like that basically just explodes into 3,000 butterflies. Like, isn't that the coolest shit? Also, butterflies, they look like hearts. So there's another fucking layer of symbolism, um, or some metaphor. It's no, so the first one was right. Like this was such a perfect album. Um, because it wasn't over. It wasn't too refined. It wasn't overproduced. It wasn't, like a full. It wasn't totally a Tame Impala album. Like when first, when I heard yours, I was just like, oh, this is a Tame Impala record, okay. But the more I listened to it, the more I was like, no, this is totally King Giz. They're just using some more keyboards and synths. And yeah, I just and even though Black Hot Soup sucks, like you have to, at least it's called Black Hot Soup. It sounds gross. Maybe that's why I hate it, honestly. Like it's just such an unsatisfying, just what the fuck? Why? Vomit Coffin is fine, but like Black Hot Soup, ugh. Dude, what kind of sicko comes up with that shit? Fucking just the greatest father in the world or something. I don't know. Maybe that's Lucas. Lucas seems like a great dad too. And yeah, I obviously, yeah. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for this episode of I'm Not a Fan Unless I Have a Podcast. And I think from time to time I probably will have guests on, but I also don't mind. It's also my podcast. The results we'll see what the results are. Like either my listenership will increase, it'll stay the same, or it will just completely dwindle. And I honestly don't care. Whoever needs to hear this will hear it, and hopefully take something from it beyond just entertainment value. I feel like I'm too out there to just be like, hey guys, here's what I think about King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard and their latest album, and I'm gonna rank it from top. No, I don't work that way. I am no longer a radio guy. I'm my own fucking independent dude. So it is freeing as fuck, and I'll see you guys on Instagram or yeah, it gives fan pod, by the way, if you're not following. And yeah, I'll be posting on there from time to time in the stories and sure in the posts as well. Just wherever I'm going to be doing stand up or music or yeah, anything else that I got to share. Okay, I'm talking too much. Bye, guys.